Hello, everybody, and welcome to the Myles and Murph podcast. I'm Myles.
And I'm Murph.
And today, we're going to be talking about...
our favorite villains in video games.
I mean, I wouldn't necessarily say our favorite. I feel like that's... Yeah, I mean, yes.
That's exactly what we're doing. We talked about this.
I mean, we're just talking about...
It's written down!
Villains in general, not always our favorite. I mean, I would say a large amount of the villains that we are talking about are my favorite villains in gaming.
I would say a lot of them are some of my favorites. Not all of them, but a lot of them are.
Yeah. Like, there's a couple missing on this list, like, namely one, but that's an honorable mention for later.
Mid. I know what you're going to say. Mid.
I know. In comparison to the others from that franchise already on this list, mid. But yes. Do we want to do our honorable mentions? I want to do the two honorable mentions that are not just gaming characters.
That's fine. We can do that
first. Because I think it goes without saying that they belong here because they are in games that we have played. And they are arguably two of the greatest villains of all time. However, they are not exclusively video game characters. Yeah. So it doesn't count.
So, okay, the first one is the Joker from the Arkham franchise. This one's a little bit more so.
That kind of extends to a large amount of the villains in those games.
I mean, yeah, but Mark Hamill Joker is the best Joker, so he plays him again in the Arkhamverse. It is technically video game specific because he's only that exact version of Joker in those games, but like animated series is also him, and in whatever other series he voices the Joker, so it's still kind of like it didn't originate from a video game, obviously. So fantastic villain in those games doesn't really count.
Yes. And the other one is Darth Vader, who, I mean, just in his brief appearances in The Force Unleashed and... What?
I lie! I'm just thinking of that scene. I love that so much.
And the Jedi Fallen Order, and I don't know if he pops up in Survivor. I haven't played it.
I don't know. I'm not sure.
But yeah, Darth Vader's like
another one of like the
villain
one
of
the
all
best
villains.
One of the best villains of all time.
Like villain of all villains, to be honest, if we're straight up.
He's one of them. I don't think he's like the best, but he's definitely up there.
The Joker is the villain of all villains.
All time? I don't know, man.
Yes.
I don't know. I feel like it's possible. They're definitely up there. They're top 5. I don't know who number 1 is. That's a debatable thing.
I think Joker is probably the villain of all villains, and the Arkham franchise only solidifies that. He tries to turn Batman into literally everything that he hates. Almost succeeds. By that I mean himself.
Yeah. Well, okay, I'm just saying in general. I'm saying in general of all media, they're top 5. I'm saying I don't know if they're number 1.
All right, so that being said, the rest of the list is in no particular order. They are somewhat organized by franchise on our list, but I think we're going to do a couple in a row that are like, it makes sense to do them near each other. But other than that, yeah, we're just going to talk about good villains, and we're going to have some good time.
We're going to have some good time.
And you can see, without my services, you will have a bad time.
I don't know what the hell you're talking about.
A very large businessman.
All right, okay. Shout out Dropout. Shout out Dropout TV.
Please go watch the Noise.
Go watch Dropout.
Go watch the Noise Boys. That's the name of that episode.
Go watch any of it. It's good. It's all good.
College humor is great.
Anyway.
And I'm totally okay with them popping up in the description. It might just... That'll get us more clicks.
Anyway, we're going to start where everyone expects us to start. We're talking about Hades again.
Yes!
Because Hades...
But wait! I'm actually going to subvert their expectations. We're not talking about that Hades yet. We're going to talk about an earlier Hades.
I just said Hades of Hades.
I'm going to interrupt you.
I just said Hades of Hades, though.
Yes. So, yes, Hades from Hades is on this list. And we're going to get to him in just a goddamn second.
Because he's just like he's a dad, and who tries to get you killed.
He's a pretty dad guy.
And then, that was so... Oh, God.
Okay, so now that we're done talking about dads, let's
talk
about daddies.
I have no response. Okay. Go on, then.
Hades is not only in the game Hades. It may be a different character, but Hades from Kid Icarus Uprising is peak Nintendo villain, and you cannot argue with me. There's only 2 villains better than him, and they're both on the list.
Yeah.
But neither of them, actually that's wrong, only one of them is properly voice acted in their games.
They both are.
One of them never speaks.
One of them does.
That's why I corrected myself. One of them speaks. The other one never speaks.
They both do.
That's not sentences, dude. I mean voice acted sentences.
Yeah. I can't tell you why, because we're going to get there later.
Yeah, okay, we'll get there.
I will tell you why later.
Oh, he is!
Yeah!
One game!
I don't care!
Neither of us have played it.
I haven't played a lot of it. I've played it. Go on, get back to the list.
Alright, yeah, Hades. Also, let's, honorable mention Medusa, because you think the game ends at, the 12th level. You go through 12 levels of Kid Icarus Uprising. You kill Medusa, and then the credits roll. And just when you think it's over, Hades' hand comes on screen, literally stops the credits and says, I'm not finished with you. And it's like, oh, Hades was the big bad the entire time. Medusa was literally just a lackey, effectively. Who, also just ends up later fighting Hades because she's pissed off that he stole her thunder. Hades is present for a majority of the game then in conversations because you can hear the 3 gods arguing for the entire game, which is also why Kid Icarus Uprising is so good, because that cast of characters is great. But you have constant interactions with Hades. He's actively present through a majority of the game after his introduction, and that only makes him better, because the entire time it's like, why are we doing this? I'll explain why you're doing this. Because he's there taunting you the entire time. It's perfect. He's so sassy. He's great. He has great legs.
So back to Hades of Hades.
You're not
I'm not even touching that with a 10-foot pole. We're going back to Hades of Hades.
he is 30 feet tall.
Hades of Hades in Hades. He's a lot bigger than 30 feet. Aren't they both hundreds of feet tall?
Oh yeah,
They're a lot bigger than 30 feet.
Hades is huge. He's a big boy.
All right. I just... Could you not?
7 minutes, everyone. It took us 7 minutes to turn gay.
8 minutes. And, for you to turn gay.
Don't worry. Yours is coming on later on this list.
What? So back to Hades of Hades, who lives in Hades, and his son is not named Hades.
I absolutely hate you, but yeah. So... his moveset is a near mirror of yours.
Is it?
If you're using the spear, yes.
Oh, okay, well that's different.
He has a dash, he has cast.
Oh, I guess
he has a charge up special, and he has a regular attack.
I'm you, but better.
Exactly.
That was not a good
And
impression.
if you're using the Spear of Hades, it's a literal mirror match. Mm-hmm. It's perfect. Now, obviously, the relationship between Zag and obviously his father is a major topic of the game. I don't want to spoil a ton of it, but the entire thing is, hey, I'm trying to escape the underworld. And your dad being like, hey, because of who I am, not necessarily because of I'm your father, have to do absolutely everything in my power to stop you.
You can't do that.
Exactly.
What are you doing? I don't know what that was.
You sound like you're choking on cottage cheese. You sound like you live in a cottage making cheese.
That's so stupid. Anyway, Hades is kind of like,
my boy. And
my boy.
He can't ground you. He attempts to. I guess. Literally. The underworld is underground. He sends you back to the underworld. He literally grounds you. But yeah, the entire crux of Hades is I'm trying to escape. Obviously, the title of the game, he's the final boss. He is the penultimate villain. Obviously, throughout the game, that relationship...
Penultimate's the one before the last one.
I don't think that's true.
Penultimate is not the last one.
I think it is.
It's not. I'm telling you.
I don't care.
Leave a comment. Tell us below if who's right. I know it's me, but you can say it anyway.
No. I don't think you're right. Point is, eventually that relationship does... Are you seriously looking
Don't worry about it.
up?
Keep going.
That relationship changes throughout the game, and he goes less from, like, pure villain status to, I'm doing this because it's a security measure, and I'm doing this because it's fun for me. Don't laugh at me.
Penultimate. Last but one in a series of things. Second to last.
God damn it!
Anyway, go on.
His villain status changes throughout the story, obviously, because just your relationship with him improves, but that doesn't change the fact of for your first 10 clears,
he's not really. He's a villain.
He's genuinely,
but
a
he's
bad
also
guy.
He's also still your dad. And to be fair, some of his things are legitimate because he's like, I wish you would just do your job and clean your room and do legitimate things.
He's like, I tried to give you a job.
Stop ransacking my realm. Stop trying to break out when you know people aren't allowed out. He's a quote unquote bad guy. He's trying to stop you. He's the opposition, but he's not a.
In his defense, he would be having to do this for literally anybody trying to escape the realm.
Exactly. So he's not
even
evil. But he still qualifies as a villain.
In a position where Achilles were in the same position trying... Oh, wait, he's a shade. He wouldn't be able to. In a position where, Meg, the Fury, were trying to leave the underworld to go do something, she wouldn't be allowed to either. So it's not like he's doing this because it's oh, I'm your dad and I'm screwing with you. This is my job. So, again, that does put his villain status tiny bit into question as the story progresses, but he deserves to be here also just because I thought the duality of double Hades all the way across the sky is a very...
Double Hades all the way! What does it mean?
Which I think is a great segue because Double Rainbow...
That's true!
Double Rainbow...
That's great.
...is in our next game.
Next game? Well, no, next villain? Handsome Jack from Borderlands 2.
Yes,
quite literally.
Double Rainbow is in that game.
Literally one of my probably top 3 favorite villains ever in any media. He's just so good.
Really?
He's so well written. He's so funny. He's such an asshole, but you can't help but love him.
I haven't played...
He's so rich. He buys a living pony made of diamonds and names it Butt Stallion. And he clarifies. He's like, he has a mouthful of pretzels as he's talking to you. It's so funny. He's like, I want to be clear. This isn't a statue. This is a living pony made of diamonds. I don't know what... I was thinking about naming it for brains after you or whatever he says. Some insult or whatever. And he's like, Butt Stallion maybe? I don't know. He's like, Butt Stallion, come here, girl. And you hear, no! And he goes, Butt Stallion says hello. There's a mission.
Who is he voiced by?
Oh, I don't remember his name.
So it's... my brain said Troy Baker. I don't
Not
know.
at all Troy Baker. I don't remember his name, but literally fantastic. He does a fantastic performance. One thing I will say, I don't know if we had to put a quote-unquote trigger warning or something for this, but there is a mission in the game, spoilers, there's a side mission in the game, where he literally pays you to kill yourself. You go to a bounty board, and he's like, alright, here's the thing. I will pay you to kill yourself. I got it all picked out. I got a nice spot. If you go to this ledge and jump off, I will give you money. No, granted.
Can you?
Yeah.
Does he do it?
Yeah! He pays you!
Wait, you respawn...
You respawn.
Is there a lore reason that you respawn in the universe?
Yeah, the Hyperion company, they have you redigitize yourself, I guess, or whatever.
Okay. Because then it makes sense. So that's a thing that everybody can.
No, he goes, you can either walk away and never do it, and that's fine. Or you can do it and get the money, but just remember, you'll always be my bitch. And I usually do it. It's money.
Yeah,
it's funny.
I haven't played a lot of Borderlands 2. But
his story,
minimal interactions that I've had with him in just the brief dialogue of how very little I've played was very enjoyable.
He's also kind of a tragic villain in a way. In Borderlands 2, he's not at all, because he's already evil at that point. But when you play Borderlands, the pre-sequel, you realize he just works at Hyperion. He's not the CEO. He's not horribly disfigured yet, because that's what his mask hides. He was just Jack. He wasn't handsome Jack yet.
Is his mask of his face from before?
It's like slightly tweaked, but pretty much, yeah.
Okay.
He tries to save the world, tries to do all this stuff. He gets betrayed. Now, he didn't have always like the best intentions, but for the most part, he wasn't bad. He was pretty good. He gets betrayed left and right, and then he gets disfigured and he gets these visions and then gets disfigured and then puts the mask on, and then he's like, all right, I just gotta... That's the thing. The thing about him is, he is a villain. He legitimately thinks he's the hero of the story.
That's good.
If you play Borderlands, he's like... The planet is crawling with bandits and, like, monsters and all this stuff.
There's at least one other villain on this list that qualifies for that.
He's... when you're, like, about to beat him at the very end, he's like, this is not how the story goes. You're a bandit, and I am the goddamn hero! This is not how it's supposed to happen! It's just... He's awesome. Also, you just love to listen to him. He's, like, legitimately charismatic and funny.
Yeah, he's a shithead.
But he's also genuinely psychotic and will just, like, shoot people without even thinking about it. But, yeah, literally... If this list was ranked, like, in order, he would be...
Would you veto my decisions and put him at number 3 regardless?
Probably. He's minimum top 3.
Because I think that one is a clear number 1 for both of us.
I don't know, man.
Because
just for quality of villain?
Because that's number 2.
I don't know. Anyway, moving on. Is there one you want to talk about?
Yes. Because we're going to segue to another franchise that appears in Valve's hit, Poker Night 2.
Oh, I thought you were going to say because of the outfit for Zero and...
That's a reward from Poker Night 2.
Yes, but it's in Borderlands 2. GLaDOS, Portal.
Who is also a tragic villain.
I would say less so.
Her personality is...
Yeah, it's based on a real person, though. She's not the real person, so I'd say it's less tragic.
No, I don't...
I think it's...
Pretty sure she dies and is replaced.
Yeah, but I don't think it's actually her, though. I think it's like we're going to try and replicate
a
her
life model
into...
decoy,
Yeah, I don't think it's actually her, but... GLaDOS is like quintessential robot villain. Because she's like...
She's again, I am doing my job.
She's logical, but also she does enjoy messing with
Torture.
You. Yeah, she's like...
I'm going to use my deadly neurotoxins.
I'm not gonna lie, I haven't played Portal in forever. But GLaDOS is always the best part. Always, easily.
Yeah. It's like...
Besides the gameplay, obviously.
That elevator didn't work because you're such a big, fat, dumb fatty. It's like, that's just mean!
GLaDOS, that's not even funny! That just hurt my feelings! If Show could talk.
Yeah, right.
If the companion cube talks to you, ignore it. Do not listen to it.
Doug Ratman?
She says that in the...
Yes.
I'm pretty sure she says that.
GLaDOS is purely like, at least in the first game, 100% a character doing a job.
You know, I'm pretty sure Portal's in the same universe as Half-Life.
It is, because you can find a giant thing, and a ship in the Half-Life universe disappears in a Half-Life game. It disappears off the face of the earth. You can, in Aperture somewhere, find that ship. Just like behind, like somewhere. So, like Black Mesa loses this oil tanker or whatever.
How do you lose an oil tanker?
It's a Titanic-sized ship. Like,
imagine the guy in the dock who's watching the ship turns around. Oh no! Oh, I'm so fired! Ah!
In my head, I'm probably 1,000% wrong, but I think it's in universe. Aperture Science is the reason that ships keep disappearing in the Bermuda Triangle. At least, I'm probably extremely wrong, but that's what I'm thinking in my head.
If that's true, that would be cool. Anyway, yeah, GLaDOS is just
GLaDOS is great. In the second game, she's not as much a villain. She still is, up until a certain point.
She's briefly the villain.
Because her,
she gets swapped out.
She has a personality... Okay, she has various personality cores that influence the way she acts and stuff. One of them that is the core that acts as these are idiotic tendencies that would prevent her from being perfect and just taking over the world somehow gets switched into her control spot. By that I mean you do it because he tells you to. Because it's like, we're going to defeat GLaDOS. You're going to take her head off and put me in there instead. And then you find out, very slowly but surely, that he is, because of the fact that he runs on said terrible ideas, even worse than her. And then she's put into a potato, and then you bond. And it's great. And then, like, the end sequence...
Top 10 video game companions. Number 1, Potato GLaDOS.
So, yeah. Brief honorable mention, Wheatley, but he doesn't really count. We're not going to actually talk about him. It's just that he is the effective GLaDOS replacement, and then she's back in control again.
So, on to the next one. We have another one of my top favorites. Let's be honest here, a lot of people's favorites. These are, like, the reason they're some of our favorites is because they're so good.
I would say only 2 of these... At least in, like, the ones that are strictly from the franchise that I'm going to do a lot of talking for, are more niche.
Voss from Far Cry 3. I'm talking about Voss.
All these other ones are like, yes. Except for maybe, like, 1 or 2.
Now, for those of you who played Far Cry 3, you will know that Voss is not the main villain. He's the main villain for, like, the first half of the... 2/3 half of the game. And then... at the end of the game is Hoyt. He has more power, he has more influence, but you're already so strong and powerful by the time you even meet Hoyt, he's not really a threat. He's cool, but he's not really like... He doesn't have like the character that Voss does. Voss is just an actual lunatic. Like, he's totally insane, but he's not stupid. He's also very smart. And he likes to like mess with people. Like the beginning of the game.
Remind me who Voss is voiced by again?
I don't remember his name, but he was also in Breaking Bad.
Yeah, okay. I was trying to remember the character because I've never played the game.
So Voss is like the leader of pirates on a kind of, I don't know if it's Caribbean, but like a Caribbean kind of island. Like, technically, Hoyt is his boss, but Hoyt runs more of like the militia that's on the other smaller island. Voss is like in charge of all like the pirates. The beginning of the game starts with like this, he's talking to you while you're in jail, and then you think you sneak out, you break out, and your older brother's like a big tough, like, he's a former Marine, he's like a military guy. You're like, alright, I'm gonna get you out of this, we're gonna be safe. And then Voss shoots him in the throat.
Oh.
And then laughs about it, and then gives you a chance to run away. It's like, run, Forrest, run! And he just like yells after you in the jungle. He messes with you throughout the game.
I've seen some of the like torture scenes.
It's just so good. I don't even want to talk about it that much because just play the game. And if you're not going to play the game, at least look up the scenes with him in it. He's fantastic.
I want to say that for a lot of these. Play the game.
Well, yeah,
it's a good.
Yeah.
Like, again, Kid Icarus Uprising. That's a game with a ton of dialogue. You're going to want to play that. It is hopefully getting a Switch remake.
Yeah, because the gameplay, you get used to it, but it's a little weird.
Whoa.
Look, I'm not saying I don't like it.
I still believe that
I think it would put people off to it, is what I'm saying.
Oh, okay.
The average person would be like...
That's also because of the fact that it's half and half 2 different games, occasionally. Because the flying sections play entirely differently. But I do still believe that is one of, if not the best, non-Big 3 Nintendo release on that system.
I would agree with that.
It's the best game on the 3DS that is not a Mario, Zelda, or Pokemon. And I'm not counting Smash.
No, I would agree with that, yeah. I would say it's better than 3DS Smash.
Yeah, it is. But I think that's a good way to...
Actually, hold on. Before you do that, what I want to do is jump straight to another one. This is kind of an honorable mention, because he's very good. I don't think he's quite as good as Voss, but he does kind of make up for that by being like the main villain of the game. Is Pagan Min from Far Cry 4. And I know you're going to like this, because you don't know this, but he's voiced by Troy Baker.
Woo! Yeah, baby!
Yeah, baby, that's what we're for. That's all about. The dog comes up. Woo! Shout out Critical. Shout out Penguin Zero. Or Penguin Zero.
We cannot keep doing this.
We can do it. No one's stopping us.
That's the wrong song, isn't it?
I want to say the ADHD is strong with this one, but I'd also have to pull up a mirror or two. Anyway, Pagan is great. He does talk to you throughout the story, but he's also, again, he is a villain.
Far Cry 5 is Gus, right?
That's 6.
Right.
Pagan is good, but at the same time, he's kind of like a half honorable mention because he's kind of not a villain. Like he's kind of a villain to the people of the country, but not to you specifically because he was in love with your mother, so he kind of like he cares about you. He does not want to like hurt you. Does he kind of, I think, kidnap you at some points and lock you up? Yes, but he doesn't hurt you. Like there's a point where you're in a jail cell and he's like, yeah, don't sleep too close to the edge because like it's a cell and there's like an entire cliff, like there's no other wall. But he doesn't do anything to you. Really. So, and also that's where like the ultimate...
Is that why you're saying he's an honorable mention?
He's kind of, yeah, because he's really not a villain to you. To everybody else he is, but to you he's kind of like, he's like you don't have to do... Like there's an alternate ending, which is great. Spoilers, you haven't played. It's not really that big a deal. In the beginning, you talk to him, everything, you're having dinner, and he's like, I have to go do something. I will be right back. If you wait like 15 real minutes, he actually comes back and then you beat the game. Because the whole point of you going back to the Himalayas in Karat is to spread your mother's ashes. Because that's where you're from. And he's like kind of like the ruler of there now. Like a dictator, pretty much. And the end game, the last scene of the game is you spreading the ashes, or putting the ashes where she wants them to be. If you wait those 15 minutes, he'll just be like, yeah, come on, let's go. And like you actually just go do it. And you beat the game.
That's great.
No, it's great. Like, that's what I'm saying. He's not really, like... He actually cares about you and likes you. He's not really, like, a villain.
He's just a bad guy.
He's a bad guy in general, but, like, he likes you.
He is bad guy, but he is not bad guy.
Yeah, pretty much. So that's why he's kind of like a half honorable mention.
Okay, well, then in that case, then I'm going to talk about the villains, also not technically a villain.
I think I know what you're talking about.
Well, what's your guess?
I'll just go on. Go on.
Because I want to talk about... Because he cares. He's doing everything he does for a reason.
Does this man have a plan?
No, actually.
Oh, you're not talking about who I think you're talking about?
No.
Who are you talking about?
Kessler.
Oh, well.
No, because he is, in his perspective, the hero of his story.
No, he's not. He fully knows he's not. He's a coward. He's trying to make Cole into the... So we're talking about Kessler, who's the main bad guy of the first Infamous game.
Yes, who is Cole, the protagonist of Infamous 1, from the future.
Spoiler alert.
Yes. I mean, I think it's implied the entire time that this is a spoiler-heavy episode.
I guess so, yeah.
But yeah, we have gone in length about Kessler and his relationship to Cole, and by that I mean the lack thereof until the last 10 minutes where he tells you everything. Cole is you from the... Kessler is you from the future. He's like, hey... I was a...
Can we say that?
Yeah.
I don't know.
Pusillanimous.
It's a word for coward.
Yeah. He was a pusillanimous individual. And... It's an adjective.
I don't think you use it like that, but that's really funny.
It's a steak corn and sauce. He was a pusillanimous individual, and he was like, that big guy that's going to come kill me, I don't want him to do that. So he took his wife and kids, and he ran. The giant man kills his wife and kids because he ran instead of fighting. So Kessler time travels back and starts the Infamous game off by destroying 6 blocks of fictionalized New York City to give you superpowers.
And then he's like, you know what would be a great idea?
Let's take his family away.
I killed that man's wife. When will he learn?
So his goal
right after that,
his goal is, I'm going to take away all of Cole's weakness. I'm going to get rid of his girlfriend. I'm going to attempt to kill his best friend.
Which, as horrible as it sounds, in all fairness, would probably work. Like, if you have nothing to lose and you become so much more powerful at the same time.
Well, the other thing is, we already know he's drastically changing the future. Like, if you don't, if you don't kill him, he ceases existing anyway, just because the path is different.
Assuming time travel works that way in that universe.
Yes.
Because it's not real, so we can't have a definitive way to say whether it works or not. So
regardless, the Beast gets created, but Kessler doesn't go through the version of Infamous 2 that we do.
Exactly.
Which is fascinating to me.
It's just like, I like to I think if time travel is real, I like to think of it as kind of like a, what's it called? I don't remember the name of it, but it's like a loop thing where it's like a circle, and then when you do another thing, it makes another loop, but the loop is slightly different. So it's like the same but slightly different, and it just kind of keeps looping.
Oh, yeah.
But it's like changing, so it just continuously goes. I am not describing that very well. I can picture it in my head, but I can't. I'm not articulating it very well.
I get what you're saying. So Kessler comes back in time. He makes Cole get his powers. He kills his girlfriend, so he doesn't have any reason to run away to save anybody. He does his best effort to kill Zeke, in my opinion. He was going to let Zeke use the thing, and if the thing would have detonated, Zeke would have died.
Well, to be fair, if it would have detonated, he would have. And also, he probably assumes that if Zeke would get powers, he would know from being in the future already, so he's like, you can do it, whatever.
Exactly.
Which I never really thought about until right now. That's why he's like, whatever.
Yeah, so it's either Zeke gets powers in the future, or Zeke dies right then.
Yeah, and he's like, well, either way, doesn't matter to me.
Which we know he doesn't die because he makes it to the wedding. But
again, that was the original loop, not the new. That's what I'm saying.
So, point being, Kessler does everything he can to kill all of the close people to you.
Kind of.
To mold you into what he could not be.
Kind of has good intentions in a weird way.
That's
in
why
the sense of
he cares.
He cares about the many versus the few. He's like, I am willing to let some people die to save the world.
He's like, I know for
as horrible as it is,
because like
it's kind of not a bad point.
It's like he's in a situation where it's
debatably a bad point.
I could make the future version of myself not exist and make my wife be. I could kill he kills his own wife, effectively. Kessler's the one dangling Trish from the building.
Mm-hmm.
Like
he Green Goblins her. Sadly, Cole's not Spider-Man.
Green Gobbler.
We can't let Wawa hear that. They're gonna do that as like as an Eagles thing. It's gonna be the Gobbler, but just dyed green bread.
It's gonna be it'll
green
be
eggs and ham.
It'll be actual eagle meat somehow. Which is illegal.
That is a felony. The entirety of Wawa gets shut down forever.
The Wawa goose is just replaced by the Eagles logo for a month. It's if they make it to the Super Bowl. We know nothing about sports. That's not true. I've tried to pick up football this year.
I could not care less.
I know. But yeah,
they can take their millions of dollars and CTE and enjoy themselves.
Kessler tries to take everything away from Cole and doesn't succeed other than killing his girlfriend. However, since we are already talking about the Infamous franchise, I have two honorable mentions. One of which is a good pick, and one of which is the one that you said was mid earlier.
Mm-hmm, mm-hmm.
The next one is Joseph Bertrand III, the demon of New Marais.
The third? He's the third?
Yeah, he's Joseph Bertrand III.
Do you think his grandfather was Godzilla? Like just straight up Godzilla?
I could swallow up, bottle up.
All right. We can't do that. We can't do that.
I'm a white boy.
Eminem will be like, you can't do that.
Yeah, you're right. Shout out Eminem.
Well.
Whatever. I mean, he already got his shout out in Fortnite. Honorable mention, Fortnite, the game. It is the villain.
It's the villain of society.
Dr. Doom.
Society.
Yeah. Joseph Bertrand III from Infamous 2. You're going to see a common theme here.
He's a pretty good villain.
He's a pretty good villain. He's more present than the Beast, who is the actual villain of Infamous 2.
Like the main villain. It's kind of like a Far Cry 3 thing. Like how Hoyt's the main villain, but he's not really there, and he's also not really that much of a threat, except the fact that Beast is a serious threat. But he's also not really there, and he's not even really evil. He has good intentions. I feel like quite literally with the Beast because of like him walking down and destroying the coast.
It's a moral compass.
No, I feel like he is quite literally the definition of the road to hell is paved with good intentions. Like quite literally where he walks is like paving things and destroying it. But his goal is, if I make more conduits, I can save more people from the plague.
Yes.
Not a good way to go about it, but
doesn't
he has good intentions.
Yes, and yeah, the Beast is an okay villain. Like, in the evil ending, the Beast is a good villain. In the good ending, it's just, I have to stop you, Cole.
I feel like, I don't know
but
if
then
it was,
again,
I don't know if the whole story was
Cole,
written out.
Evil ending Cole is a good villain.
Yeah. I don't know if the whole story was written out.
Crazy.
I don't know if the whole story was written out beforehand, but it feels like, at least in the first game, the Beast was like, just like this more like a force of nature, or just like a big monster as opposed to like a character. Now granted, we didn't really know. So it's like, that's the kind of a mystery to it. So it could be that he had more backstory.
Like, there's no telling if they had planned to have
he was good. He wasn't great. You know, like, they could have just changed that after. Who knows?
But yeah, great game. And Joseph Bertrand, he's more present during the plot. He is like the antithesis to everything. Like, he is pissed off at the player, effectively, at Cole, because it's like, hey, all these other conduits around me have these awesome powers.
Well, because he wanted to be a Superman. He's like, I want to be Superman. And then, as Cole would put it, he got turned into a 50-foot maggot.
50-foot maggot. And that made him even more bitter and pissed off. So what does he do? He uses his powers to turn other people into freaks.
I just thought of a really funny analogy.
Oh, don't do it.
So he is a man from the South.
Oh, my God.
And he hates conduits because he is a conduit. But he's not a cool conduit. It's almost like other people in real life, I won't mention names, but other people who are like, oh, man, I hate them gays.
Well,
and they are... And they are gay. That's what I was going to say. I didn't expect you to do that.
You guys can't tell, but I just pantomimed.
You just pantomimed.
Head.
Yeah. Oh, look at that. Caught me off guard. That was really funny. Oh, man.
That's so good.
Is there something in this soda? What is going on today?
We're on a roll, baby.
This is just like right before the episode. Woo! We do not do that. We do not condone drug use. Don't use drugs.
Unless they're really good.
Unless they're free. I'm kidding. That was a joke. For legal reasons and just any reason, don't do drugs.
You know, I'm starting to think there's something in the coke. My face is going numb from the amount of smiling.
Especially, don't do drugs that you don't know where they came from. That's not safe. Even if you've done them before.
All right, Bertrand, great. My otherable honorable mention. My otherable. Lunchables.
A couple of hundred of them just up ahead.
What is on us?
I don't know!
Our other honorable mention is the murderer, the myth, the woman.
Brooke Augustine.
Yeah!
Her name's Brooke, right?
Yeah, Brooke Augustine. I texted you her full legal name the other day, trying to put her on.
Did you?
Yeah.
I don't remember that.
Brooke Augustine, ladies and gentlemen. Now, I want her here just because she is a piece of garbage. Like, again, she is.
The reason I said she's mid is because she's pretty much. I know how to save my people. I'll imprison them, so they live lives that are debatably not worth living. It's like, what?
Yes, but no.
It would be different if she had a plan one day to set them all free and have them, like, give them their own country, like freaking Magneto did, or want to do an X-Men.
Her entire crux is, I'm doing the events of the game are, I need to prove that conduits are bad enough to keep my company running.
Exactly.
Which, in turn, making Curtin K, making this prison.
It's also kind of dumb because, like, maybe if you just did what Delsin did.
However, she did also murder your brother.
Oh, wait, when I say she's a villain, she's a bad villain in the sense she does bad things. She does have kind of good intentions. A really dumb way of going about it because, again, Delsin just makes people actually like conduits by being a good person if you're doing a good playthrough.
I mean, like, let's be real here. I could gush about this game forever and talk about the arc. I mean, it's no secret. My avatar for this channel is literally wearing Delsin's outfit. But I just think, like...
I think she's mid in the writing department.
Yeah, there's also...
She's not written super well. It's not bad. It's serviceable.
Her best writing comes starting when she kills Reggie. Like, her best villain behavior is messing with the tribe up to killing Reggie. Because in between then, she's not really a factor in the story.
Actually, I would say she has like 3 definitive best moments where she's like actually written pretty decently. Very first time you meet her, after Reggie, and then the final fight, and that's it.
And the final fight being, hey, you have my power now. I've had 7 years to be better than you with it.
And then she still loses. So
she still loses. But then again, she also loses because the power of friendship. And there's 3 of you.
Yeah, but they're actually giving him powers, so it's not the power of friendship. It's the power of friendship is giving him actual powers, so it's a little... It works. It works.
But yeah, that's my other honorable mention. Augustine. It's great. She's pretty okay. But yeah, Infamous franchise, great villains. I mean, I just gushed for about 10 minutes about one franchise, so I'll let you take it away on your next entry.
Okay, so this one, to really explain it, I have to spoil it. So we're talking about BioShock, the first BioShock. If you have not played it,
I know nothing about it.
Go play it. I don't even want to spoil it for you, but I feel like it's so good I have to talk about it.
I'm probably not going to play it.
Blasphemy. Heavy spoilers.
Blasphemous 2? The real villain of gaming? It's such a bad game?
It's not. People love that game. Anyway.
I couldn't play it. I'm bad.
Again, perhaps a skill issue.
The real villain was my impulsivity and the money I don't have.
I thought you were going to say the real villain is the friends we made along the way. Doesn't even make sense, but I thought you were going to say it. Anyway.
Red Dead Redemption 2.
Not yet. Anyway, heavy spoilers for the first BioShock game, and I guess also BioShock 2 because they probably mentioned it a little bit. So in the beginning of the game, when you first get to Rapture, you pick up a walkie-talkie, or like the two-way radio or whatever. You pick up the two-way radio or whatever in the bathysphere, and there's an Irish guy who's like, I'm Atlas. I'm going to help you get out of there, but I need your help. I need your help to get down to this certain area to save my... I'm trying to get out of the city, and my wife and daughter are in the bathyspheres. In like this, they're hiding in a bathysphere in this area, and you go through a lot of the game. He ends up saving your life. I will also briefly mention Andrew Ryan. I was going to say he saves your life from Andrew Ryan. Andrew Ryan's technically not a villain. Like, he does try and have you killed, but he's not really a villain. Because he thinks you're working with Atlas, which you are, and Atlas is a villain, but Atlas isn't Atlas. So, after... When is it? It's like the last, quarter of the game, last few levels. You end up killing Andrew Ryan. You find out the twist, but you don't... You find out part of the twist. Heavy spoilers for BioShock. Turns out you're actually not a human, or, not a normal human. You're only a few years old because you were a clone. You were a weird clone, not a clone thing. You were made in a lab and you're only a couple years old and you had accelerated growth, and then you got sent into the world and you have false implanted memories and then came back and did all this shit that came back to the city. It's a lot of complicated. I'm not gonna explain it all right now. Point is, Atlas has been controlling you the whole game.
I could not be more lost. I listened to every word. Got nothing.
Play the game.
No.
Whatever. Play the game if you're listening. You should already be playing it now.
He knows I won't.
Atlas has been controlling you the whole time. He's an Irish guy. He's an Irish guy with an accent. He's like, would you kindly go do whatever? Turns out that's your trigger phrase. That's the code phrase for you to listen. You haven't been playing the game. You've been following orders this whole time. And then you finally turn over you do something with the key to the city thing or whatever, and then all of a sudden the picture changes and his voice changes. He hasn't been Atlas this whole time. He's actually Frank Fontaine.
Who's that?
Who is the bad guy who's running all these drug rings and criminals throughout the entire city trying to take power from Andrew Ryan. And you've been seeing things about him this whole time. Atlas has even talked about Frank Fontaine to you. But you don't know it's him until the last very end. And then he's like, would you kindly have your heart stop beating? And you go... And I think when that happens, there's some thing you've done to make it so you don't have to physically listen, but slowly over time in that section you start to lose health. Like your full health bar just goes down and lower and lower. And then the final boss is him, but he's injected with like so much Adam. Adam is like the power and stuff, or like the thing that gives you power. But he goes from like a normal looking guy to he's probably about like 8 feet.
Is it like Titan Joker in the Arkham games?
Not that exaggerated, but he's like 8 feet. He looks like a bronze statue, but like brightly colored veins running through him, and he like charges at you and has all these powers, and he's really strong. But, which I will say is almost in a way kind of like Titan Joker, where it's a little disappointing. Not the same as Titan Joker. Titan Joker was disappointing.
Why would Titan Joker? I haven't played. You're gonna have to explain that briefly.
Well, because the Joker is always like, he's just insanely smart. He's clever.
Oh,
he outsmarts Batman. Then he's
so
like,
he's brains.
now I'm big guy. I crush you. Like, it's kind of
It's
a lot better.
Bane exists for that reason.
Exactly. It's a lot better in BioShock because it makes sense, because the kind of whole city revolves around the power and stuff, and like Adam and everything like that. I'm aware that I did not do that explanation justice. Please go play the game. It is literally one of the best games ever made. It is fantastic. It still holds up today. I just replayed it through a couple months ago. It is awesome. I played it through back to back. Honestly, I did New Game Plus right after on the hardest difficulty. It's fantastic. It was on my top 10 list. Play it. It's wonderful.
All right, now time for
I could tell. I know you weren't going to care, and I hate that. But it is so good.
I paid attention for about 2 minutes.
Yeah. Anyway,
Bowser.
Boozer.
Doug Bowser.
Not Doug Bowser. Not Doug. Doug's a good guy.
I wouldn't know.
The fact that his legal last name is Bowser.
And he is now like president of Nintendo of America.
It's just the best thing. I miss Reggie, but this is the best thing.
Reggie Fils-Aimé. Great guy.
Fils-Aimé.
I don't think it. I wouldn't know.
I think you said it wrong.
Whatever.
It doesn't matter.
I don't think there's a ton to talk about with Bowser. I don't think there's a ton to talk about with Bowser. Because, like, I mean, he's just Bowser. Sunshine, he does a good job of being an actual character.
He's an actual dad. A good dad at that.
And that was the one I forgot. I forgot he is
That's what I was trying to say earlier. I was going to say, him and another one we're about to talk about are both voiced villains, just not in all the games.
Yeah, no. I remembered that the other one was. I forgot Bowser is.
Because it's so funny how Bowser's normally, yeah, and then all of a sudden,
yeah, I'm just.
Look, I'm
just a bad dad.
Peach isn't actually your mom. I'm sorry, Bowser Jr. Or does he just call him Junior? I don't know.
I think it is just Junior. I think he's.
Oh, I'm sorry, Junior.
I think he's kind of self-aware that saying his own name in Junior is weird.
He can't abbreviate it. I thought about that for a second and went, oh,
his name is BJ! Yeah! Hey! 2 times. 2 times in the episode, ladies and gentlemen.
Oh. Stop! Stop it! This is what happens when I have caffeine on an empty stomach. That's what this is. I get it now.
Yeah.
You don't have that excuse, but I get it now.
Yeah, I'm just on drugs.
Anyway,
that's not true.
That's not true. He's not. That's a bit. That's a bit.
Bowser.
All right. We're not going to explain any more about Bowser. He's Bowser. He's a classic. He's
only like a true villain, I would argue.
He's one of, if not the first like video game villain.
His best villain behavior,
unless you count the other paddle in Pong. But at that point, that would just be the other person sitting next to you.
No, I mean, yeah, but
I guess the Atari came out before that. But like, we don't gotta talk about that. We don't have to.
I mean, I think the real villain was E.T. on the 2600.
Yeah, we don't have to talk about that.
But yeah, Bowser. I mean, his best villain behavior comes in around Galaxy when he's literally trying to mold the entire universe in his image.
What if he tried it? What if he got the ability to do that? Remolds the universe, and the only difference is that him and Peach are dating, and him and Mario are friends. What if he's just lonely? I mean,
the real friends were the enemies who made it along the way.
That doesn't really work, but okay.
Why else do they play Mario Kart and Mario Party all the time?
I like to think those are in their own like little bubble, separate universe.
No,
separate bubble universe.
No,
bubble.
it totally isn't.
I don't know, man.
Let's transition from a good Nintendo villain to a great Nintendo villain. And by that I mean a sub-villain.
Arguably the best Nintendo.
No.
Oh, okay.
I would argue that even as a sub-villain, Girahim does a better job at being a villain than Bowser.
Girahim is a sub-villain, and then a sub-villain. Let's be honest here. Look at him. Look at his hair. Do you think anyone who has that bob with those bangs is a straight person? I don't think so. Anyway, Girahim.
Girahim?
There's nothing to lose. I'll be dancing with myself.
Holy shit.
Yeah, that's a throwback.
That's a throwback to a certain Abridged series.
Shout out Zayn Uzumaki.
My God.
I don't even think he makes YouTube videos anymore, but God, they were so funny.
That's you know what? Brief shout out to Toddler Pod too, because that's where the Abridged stuff.
They both did Zelda Abridged series, and they're hilarious.
Yeah. Their Zelda Abridged series are the greatest thing ever. They also did Toddler Pod did like an anniversary special where he did the Big O Abridged and I'm Not a Fruit. Great videos. Definitely go watch them. But Girahim.
Girahim also fits in the same spot that Voss does because he's there for most of the game.
He's presented as the main antagonist.
He's got great character to him, and the actual main bad guy is even worse than Hoyt, I would say, because Demise is like,
I plan on destroying the planet.
He's like, I'm a bad guy. I look cool. I'm a bad guy.
And then he's so passionate
and he's
about
the imprisoned for most of the game. Spoiler alert, but he's the imprisoned, and the imprisoned is one of the worst fights in any Zelda game. Because it happens like 4 times.
Demise is... Okay, does the conversation...
You just gotta run around slicing toes. Like, I don't want to do this in a Zelda game.
Does the conversation where he's about to curse everything happen after as he's dying?
Yeah, as he's beaten.
Okay, so...
What a sore loser!
Demise is a good villain for about 2 minutes. When he says, I'm going to effectively create the rest of the Zelda franchise by cursing your bloodline and making this happen over and over and over again.
But again, for the rest of the game, he's the imprisoned,
and
which is cool. It's a cool fight once.
Now, yes, this entry is about Girahim, and yes, he's a great guy. I would much prefer you playing the game than us explaining Girahim, because to be honest, he's just a character you gotta experience. He weirds everybody out on first appearance with that Gene Simmons ass tongue and that and that tribal dancing. And
that stupid dance is part of the ritual? Nope.
Yeah. But let's be real. If we're going to talk about the Legend of Zelda franchise, especially with Tears of the Kingdom having come out last year.
Also because of Demise technically being kind of
Yeah, I was going to say, Demise creates what I truly believe is Nintendo's single greatest villain. Ganondorf.
All right.
I think we should probably talk about, because we have 3 different versions to go over. We're going to do it brief, but we're going to talk about them in order of release.
I want to start with mine. I want to start with Ocarina of Time. First of all, it's probably the best game ever made. It's my favorite game of all time.
I don't think it is.
It's awesome.
Red Dead Redemption 2 is the greatest game ever made.
You're probably right, but we're talking about Ocarina of Time.
The organ.
He's not really there for a lot of the beginning of the game.
He doesn't need to be.
But it's so funny because whenever he is, it's so good. Because he'll just like show up and be like,
it's the same thing as Bowser in Mario 64 with the...
Except he's actually more there. Because the thing is, I feel... Okay. You done?
Yeah.
Alright. Because you think he's not there because he's like, oh, well, they just didn't really put him in the game. Turns out, he is intentionally not there because he's just letting you do all the work. Because you open the Sacred Realm and he's like, thanks, kid. I'm just going to walk in and take the Triforce now if you don't mind. And then by the time you go to fight him, for the final fight, you open the door at the very top of his tower after making through all the challenges, and he's sitting there just playing the organ.
With Zelda in a crystal suspended in the room.
And he's just like, hey, you wanna play energy ball tennis? Yeah, that's fine. Good. It's kind of my thing. Shout out to Zelda musical. Zelda the musical. Whatever that animated video from like how many years ago is. It's great. Go look that up. It's a good watch.
Yes, it is. But yes, Ganondorf.
And then you think you beat him, and then he busts out of the rubble, and he's like,
I'm not finished with you.
I ain't done yet.
And then he makes the castle fall apart when you kill him. And then as it's collapsed...
Or quote-unquote kill him.
Ganon, who is, again, just a really well-designed boss fight. Mm-hmm. But let's move on to probably a bit better, well-designed boss fight.
Not gonna lie, yeah.
And then a third, even better designed boss fight.
Twilight Princess. The fact that you get to go up with Ganondorf and just have a straight-up sword fight, and then you're riding around on the horses with Zelda with the freaking bow.
The Bow of Light. It is a Twilight Bow. Bow of Light, actually, in that game. It is referred to the Bow of Light. The Twilight Bow is the name in...
That's the different name of it, yeah.
It is fantastic.
You do fight him in the Temple of Time, I believe, as, like, Ganon, like the monster, little bit.
Briefly.
That's before, I think.
Boar Ganon does appear in Twilight Princess.
It is cool. I do think Ganon, like, the monster, is a lot cooler than just a giant boar. This is a tangent, but you'll see what I mean.
He's standing up.
This is a tangent, but you'll see what I mean. It's like how I remember when Twilight first came out, like the movies, I always hated how the werewolves in those movies were just giant wolves. Like I want them to be like anthropomorphic monsters, like half man, half creature.
Like how Harry Potter did it.
That's not my favorite version, but Lupin's still it's a good version. Not my favorite. It's still cool.
It's a little like unsettling.
It's more on the creepy, unsettling side as opposed to like scary.
Which is
and
intentional,
like,
and
cool.
I like it.
But like
Ganondorf in Twilight Princess is metal as hell. He gets stabbed, murders the sages. He murders a sage. Which, by the way, I want to make this really sad for everybody. It is alleged or theorized that the sages in Twilight Princess are the same sages as Ocarina of Time, which means, if that is correct, at the beginning of the game, Ganondorf just straight murks Ruto. like
they try
dead.
They try and stab him, and he's like, "Oh!" And then he's like, "Oh wait, I have a Triforce piece," and just breaks out.
No, I don't think he does.
No, he has a Triforce of power still. I'm pretty certain. I could be wrong. Correct me if I'm wrong, but I'm pretty sure he does.
And then he has it.
I'm saying like it shows up because it's like, hey, you're about to die.
But yeah, Ganondorf, and then the boss fight is great. And then Zant, who I think Ganondorf grants Zant like a piece of the Triforce of Power.
Yeah, he gives him some kind of power.
And then as Ganondorf is like about to die, the camera cuts to Zant, who just tilts his head, makes a cracking noise.
Oh yeah.
He like cracks his own neck. I think he
snaps it.
I think Zant killed himself, killing Ganondorf for good, allegedly. And then, it's Twilight Princess Ganondorf. But now let's go on to the best portrayal of the character, the only voice-acted portrayal of the character, and probably the greatest boss fight in the entire franchise.
Technically not the only voice-acted version if we count the CDI games. Or is he even voicing those games? I think he is. I could be wrong.
I've only seen Ganon once in those.
I actually might be wrong about that.
I wouldn't be surprised if he is. I mean, for all we know, he's named Ganondorf Dragmire or something. I mean, that's just his official. That's his actual last name. Dope last name.
It's pretty cool.
But yeah, Tears of the Kingdom Ganondorf. He's daddy, first of all. But Matt Mercer.
I feel like there's no way they intentionally made him a very attractive.
They said that.
They did say that? Yeah.
They came out afterward and they were like, we wanted to make Ganondorf somebody that men and women could find attractive.
They said that?
Yes.
That's good on them.
Nintendo, promoting diversity since about Tears of the Kingdom.
No, but he's like, he's always been tall.
He's green.
And he's always like strong.
He's green.
But he's like, now because he's more like kind of traditional Gerudo style as opposed to like,
he's a man.
Whatever. He's like, he's shredded. He's hugely muscular. He just like...
And Kuome and Kotake are back.
They're great. I mean, they're back in like one cutscene and they're kneeling down for like
Yeah,
15
I know.
seconds.
But it's just
but,
like I like the tie.
they're there. I like that they're there.
I like the tie. Like it's a good callback.
They didn't have to put it there, and they did, and it makes it better.
Yeah, because for those of you that don't know, Breath of the Wild and Tears of the Kingdom sit outside of the timeline in their own little block, where it's like, hey, these are separate events.
Which is honestly fine.
I don't love it.
I don't even care because the games are so good. It doesn't really matter to me.
I don't love it because it just feels like...
Unless it matters in the story of that game, I don't think the timeline really matters. It's just fun to talk about.
It just bothers me.
It's fun to theorize about. It's fun to talk about.
Adrift in Time, Skyward Bound, and...
Well, yeah, but that's just, again, they can reference other things, but it doesn't have to take, like...
I think that, like, whether they say it or not, the converging timeline theory is correct. Like, it has to be, because other shit is too referenced.
That could just be your headcanon.
Other shit is referenced way too much. Like, it can't not be.
It could just be a culmination. Instead of that, it could be a real world.
Let's just cut to the boss fight.
It could be a real world culmination of all the games together instead of a lore route.
Actually, I don't know that we talked about the boss fight in length during our episode because we wanted to keep it spoiler free.
No, I think we talked. At the end we talked about it. I think.
All right, let's do it again then.
Point is,
Ganondorf, you fight him. He's huge. He can flurry rush. He has a part of your moveset. He can dodge your dodge.
I remember when I first fought him, I was like, what? He can do that? And then after you defeat him... The first time, he becomes like, not quite Demise, but like kind of like Demise.
He goes from Ganondorf to Demon King Ganondorf.
And then his health bar just keeps going up. And I thought it went off the screen. I don't think it does. I think it goes to the edge. But when I thought it went off the screen, I was like, whoa, the coolest thing.
Yes, and that fight, that's also great, because then eventually the sages are able to come join you, and it's this whole big cinematic fight where the five of you against him.
Jump him!
Get him! And yeah, it's great. And then, in what is, again, the greatest boss fight in the Zelda franchise, you fight him twice, you fight the man twice, and then he's like, you know what? I am about to lose. I'm going to turn myself into a dragon that is going to be immortal and able to wreak havoc on the land forever because I'm not okay with losing.
To be fair, though, I'm pretty sure they're just immortal in age, clearly, because you beat him. So
yeah, you fight him, you win, and you save the world.
Zelda as a dragon helps you. It's a great fight.
It's a giant cinematic
especially because
fight.
it takes place in the sky, which is like
the whole
huge part of the game, if not most of the game. Like, it's great.
It's amazing, and you can beat him, and it's good.
I briefly want to mention that the main fight with him, just as the guy, is also a sword fight. I feel like the sword fighting part might be a little better actually in Twilight Princess, because I know at points there are like sword clashes where you hold the sword and have to like push it back and forth.
There are quick time events. I don't know how it works in the Wii version now that I think about it. I don't know if you're still mashing a button to push him back.
I don't know. I don't know how it would be changed.
But it's fine. It's fun. But, yeah, Zelda, I think that's a good place to end Zelda, because, I mean, it's a great cinematic fight, but we have two more. One to fully talk about and one to briefly talk about. And I don't know if you want to do this in order of timeline or if you want to do it in order of game. We could do the honorable mention second. Or no, we can do the honorable mention first. You know what? Because his also takes place earlier.
Yeah, okay. So
Micah Bell from Red Dead Redemption 2.
Now, a lot of you could argue that he is a better villain than who we're going to say next. And that's fair. And in the specific game, he is. But also, I feel like he is a character. But he's really more just, I'm evil to be evil. He's very well done in that. But he's also just like...
a piece of garbage person.
Yeah, like...
It transcends him being an antagonist. He is a bad guy.
Did you know? So the dog at one point in I think chapter 3,
he
just kicks the dog.
Yeah,
like you see him kick it, and then he later kills the dog.
At least probably,
almost certainly. He's mean to Jack. He's mean to everybody. Only some people will stand up to him and like do whatever, but most of the time he's whatever. He's racist. He's not super racist, but he's definitely racist. Like he's like. Half racist? He's like subtly racist?
I think he gets honestly less racist as the story goes on.
Well, I don't think he's less racist. I feel like he just doesn't say it, really.
Either that or he's just more afraid of the people of other races that are around him because they tell him off repeatedly.
That's a very fair point.
He's mean to Charles, and Charles throws him.
He says something to Charles, and then he just gets freaking body slammed, which is great. Love Charles. Charles is one of the best characters in the game. I love Charles. I just had to say that.
He voice acted Mysterio in Spider-Man 2.
Oh, yeah.
And Fortnite.
Anyway, now we're going to talk about the one, the only.
Arthur, we need more money. Arthur, we're gonna farm mangoes in Tahiti, Arthur.
One more decent take, we can slip away.
Now,
we're talking about Dutch Vanderland.
Who is a great villain. I've personally never played the first Red Dead Redemption.
Now, see, the thing is, he's not really a villain in Red Dead 2
until the last 5 minutes.
Okay, it depends. Because he definitely does start to betray the gang and be more evil, or be more bad, I guess. I wouldn't say he's like evil per se. Toward the end. Because obviously, he leaves John to die. He doesn't go to save him. Or he's like, oh, I'll go save him, and then just leaves him there to die. He was going to let him get hanged in prison. So, and he like actively at one point, in some camp interaction, he says like, yeah, I was going to leave you. Like, this is why I was going to leave you. So, you can make the argument that he's like kind of starting to get worse and worse. Or, well, obviously, he's like starting to be bad, but he's not really a villain until like the very end of the game. And even then, not for too long. But he still qualifies for the list because he is 100% a villain throughout the first game. He's the villain. He's always in the background, but you don't really go hunting him until like the last half of the game, I think. But he's great because although he's definitely like crazy by the time of the first game, he doesn't really lose his charm. He still has like the Dutch Vanderland charm, and he's still really smart and kind of funny. I mean, he's less funny in the first game. But he's definitely evil in the first game.
Yeah, 100%. He's not... Well, because Bill and Javier, like, allegedly know where he is throughout the plot of the first game.
Yeah.
Which is, like, they're not... I mean, maybe. But, like, you're doing this whole chase thing.
See, but yeah, they're not really villains in the first game. Like, they're antagonists, but they're just, like...
It's just, like...
They're just criminals like you are.
You're being sent to do a job.
Exactly. It's not really... Like, it happens to be personal because you know them, but, like... And they're barely there. It's not like they're interacting with the character. It's not like there's a lot of scenes. Like, Bill shoots you, and then I don't think you see him until you get him. And then Javier, I don't even think you see until you actually meet him, and then you catch him, and that's it. So, like, they're not really... Whatever.
Yeah. But Dutch, yeah.
I think Dutch is one of the best villains. It just reminds me, when he leaves Arthur to die, when he, in the freaking thing after, when they go to rescue Eagle Flies, it's just... The betray, like the all of a sudden betrayal.
You feel the sting, the same sting that Arthur feels. Because wait, actually, I realize I don't think Arthur knows.
What?
Does he see Dutch?
He sees Dutch leave. He knows. Okay. He sees his feet, or does he see? That's what we see.
Yeah, I was gonna say I don't know.
Well, he says you left me in there, and Dutch is like, I don't know what you're talking about. Come on, we gotta go.
But yeah, that's kind of. I think that kind of rounds it out. I mean. I think that's a good... I mean, we did a good, like, up and down of crazy villains to not so crazy villains to arguably the GOAT.
Mm-hmm.
But yeah, let us know in the comments what you guys personally believe are...
What are your favorite villains?
Yeah,
Let us know.
What are your favorite villains from gaming and the like? Primarily ones that are from games. I know that we did have our 2 honorable mentions of those freaks from other media.
Because, like, I could say Frieza... Because he's in games.
You've never even watched Dragon Ball.
I have. Some of it.
Yeah, let us know in the comments what you think. Primarily gaming ones, but I mean, you can just name any villain. Like,
Tell us your favorites. Give us something to read.
Yeah. I think that this was a really good one.
This was good. Fun. This was fun. This is what happens when... I don't have food and caffeine after not having caffeine for a while. I think that's probably part of it. While I was a little cuckoo for Cocoa Puffs, so to speak.
I do what I want.
Well, you're just like that.
I'm just a freak. She freaky. I'm gonna stop.
What is it?
Baby in the morning.
Anyway, we just like to thank you guys for
Hold
watching,
on.
listening, whatever.
I gotta do the. Let me pull out my glasses and do the engagement spiel.
Remember to like. Remember to subscribe. Add us to your favorites. That's not. Yeah, I stole it. That's not a thing, but do it anyway. Don't do it, but do it.
Like, subscribe, comment, add this to your favorites. Put this on your Google Plus. That's been defunct for nearly a decade.
Yeah.
I remember having a Google Plus profile account during school.
Yeah, I did too. Yeah. Anyway, we hope you enjoyed, and we will see you guys in the next one.